Aloha, everyone, and welcome to our second paper session, Women Navigating Buddhist Identity and Difficult Embodiment. I'd like to begin our panel by introducing our first speaker, Sonam Choden Sherpa. Sonam Choden Sherpa has formal training in social work, women-centered practices from Tata Institute of Social Sciences in Mumbai, India. She was a recipient of the Zubaan Sasakwa Peace Foundation grant for the young Northeastern Indian researchers. Her research looked at nuns in Tibetan Buddhism negotiating gendered monastic spaces in Sikkim, India. She also has a special interest in feminist research and social determinants of mental health. So I'd like to present Sonam Choden with her paper, Menstrual Hygiene Management in Nunneries, Stories from Sikkim, India. Thank you, Sonam Choden.
Hello, am I audible? Yes?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, thank you. Tashidile, so it's 12:32 here in India, according to the Indian Standard Time. So yes, good afternoon, everybody.
Please turn on your camera.
Yes.
Please turn on your camera, Sonam.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Hello, Tashidile, everybody, once again. So I'm Sonam Choden, and I'm from Sikkim. To give a little context about Sikkim, it's a tiny mountainous Himalayan state, Indian state, sharing borders with Bhutan and in the state of West Bengal and also Tibet, I'd like to say. So Sikkim shared a very special relationship with Tibet back in the past, and Sikkim as a state has been highly influenced by Tibetan Buddhism, and we still have a sizable number of population following Tibetan Buddhism till this day. So my research topic has been menstruation among perception of menstruation and menstrual hygiene issues among nuns and nunneries in Sikkim. So why this need was felt was because I'm a mental health counselor with the government of Sikkim, and we focus largely on schools doing menstrual hygiene workshops and sessions across different schools in Sikkim. So what I felt was the nuns and the nunneries were always excluded from what we call the mainstream Indian education system. So it was always schoolgirls receiving highly informative information and sessions and workshops on issues pertaining to every girl and a woman. So yeah, I mean, that's how the need was felt to, take the nuns along, take the nunneries along and include them in the conversation as well. So yes, and this was how, this research came into being and how it was realized in the first place. And my initial idea was to sort of conduct workshops across 5 nunneries in Sikkim and to train the elder nuns so that, the information base is within the nunnery. So that the nuns do not have to, go out or seek information elsewhere regarding reproductive health. But due to COVID, we had to adjust a bit because there was this strict lockdown imposed, and a lot of these nunneries weren't accepting visitors, and so yes, our research remained a little bit limited in that sense. But nevertheless, we got to talk to many nuns. We got to hear their stories. We got to know their experiences and their lived realities in terms of menstrual hygiene management. So to talk about the history of menstruation, the perception of menstruation, it varies across landscape, but still menstrual blood across societies, it's considered to be, a polluting substance, which naturally possesses, women. lower as men. And especially if we look at the Indian context, there are various social restrictions grounded in religious and cultural beliefs regarding menstruation. And these are practiced even in, greater degree in the rural India. So we wanted to see, how, our perceptions in this tiny northeastern state of India is different from the mainland India, right? So we wanted to see and compare. And this time we focused on nunneries because we felt, they're always excluded from, the mainstream conversation. And things are always very limited to, only public education system in that sense. So yes, so talking about, we found out that menstrual problems were prevalent among most of the nuns, right? So they had very limited knowledge on menstrual disorders like PCOS, endometriosis, knowledge around these issues and these, biological problems are largely limited because number one, they've never received any such information, formally from the health system. They do not have proper information. They do not know, whom to approach when, they're having such problems. So we found out that, access to treatment was again highly limited. And some believed that, the menstruation, they perceived it as a natural process, right? Completely biological process. And some considered it to be very dirty and messy. And some were even of the view that, we as women, we are born as women due to our, bad karmas in our past life. So, perceptions as such, we found it to be highly dangerous, primarily because, it hampers their access to treatment for reproductive health. Because menstruation as an issue is still highly stigmatized. There's a lot of secrecy around, menstruation. And it's still a topic which is brushed under the carpet. So we found and we deemed it necessary, to sort of start including the nuns in itself. But this time, since our research was largely limited due to COVID, because we could not gain access to, I mean, we had an option of, using interview, like telephonic calls to do the interview. But that to me, I mean, the research method, it again, like seemed very limited to me because, for me, like having face-to-face conversation, I mean, it's very important to me, I feel, in research as such. So yes. And one very interesting thing, what we found out was the attitude of health workers towards the nuns. So in India, a vaccine, HPV vaccine, it's a human papilloma vaccine, is given to girls aged around 9 to 14, sorry. So this vaccine is known to prevent ovarian cancer in girls and prevent the cancer in later stages. So this is given to, girls from the age group 9 to 14. So this particular nunnery, the nuns did not receive the vaccine. So I asked the teacher, the Genlak, like, what happened? Why was the vaccine not given to them? So she told me a very interesting and very alarming thing, that the health worker said that the nuns, they're not going to marry, so they do not require the vaccine. So that to me was very alarming, and which reflects the attitude of health workers themselves towards nuns and nunneries, and how a certain sect, a certain population is viewed, and how their health needs, their reproductive health needs are not taken into account, right? So yes, so this is an ongoing study. We're hoping to make it an ongoing project. make it more sustainable. So we're yet to conduct workshops and studies, because my initial plan, as I've already said, is we wanted to conduct workshops, and we wanted to, choose the leaders from the nunnery itself, elder nuns, and, give them trainings and make them master trainers. But due to COVID, all this was, all these could not be executed. So yes, we're also planning to include life skill education. This again has been only limited to school-going kids. By school, I mean formal school settings, not the nunneries. I mean, they're not looking at that space. So we are trying to take these conversations to the nunneries as well. So yeah, the plan as of now is that, and yeah, I mean, so I'd like to end my presentation now. I mean, thank you for listening to my very short presentation. So yes, I'll be looking forward to your questions if you have any, and I'll be happy to answer them. So yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Sonam, Choden, Sherpa. A very necessary topic to bring out in terms of education and women's health. So if anybody has any questions, please put them in the Q&A box, and then we'll have time at the end to answer your questions. Our second paper is from Shubhangi Satkar. And Shubhangi is from Pune, Maharashtra state in India. She received her MA and Master's of Philosophy in Women's Studies from the University of Pune. She's been working as a research assistant at the University of Pune for 4 years. She worked with Buddhist community in India for years and is currently focusing on academic education. She is interested in working with Buddhist women's organizations and has attended many meditation retreats. So very happy to welcome Shubhangi Satkar as she presents her paper, Experiences and Struggles of Newly Converted Buddhist Women of Pune, Maharashtra, and their work. Thank you.
Hello everyone, greetings from India. My name is Shubhangi Satkar, and thank you Shakidita team for giving me this opportunity on this platform. The title of my research paper is Women from Interfaith Families Exploring the Buddhist Path to Find Meaningful Life. This paper talks about how the young women from interfaith families converting to Buddhism and what are the reasons behind such a decision and what most influenced them to make such a decision. So I'm going to explain the background behind this at the beginning. So I will start here by discussing the quote of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar on religion principle. Religion must mainly be a matter of principle only. It cannot be a matter of rules. The moment it degenerates into rules, it ceases to be a religion, as it kills responsibility, which is an essence of the true religious act. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was one of the greatest leaders of the masses who not only worked for the betterment of society, but also led by example, converting to Buddhism on 14th October 1956. Dr. Ambedkar said that the Hindu religion consists primarily of rituals and observance. It is a religion of temples, love of man that has no place in it. He was convinced that it propagates the wrong ideals and has a social life of the wrong kind. I do not oppose the Hindus and the Hindu religion only because of its failing in social customs. My quarrel is with its ideal. He found a lack of ethical impulses in the Hindu religion and its adherents. He raised the question that does Hinduism universalize the value of life without distinctions? The idea of universal here is not based on categorical idea but on ethical principles of life. It is raised in the context of Hindu society where life's values are prescribed within caste distinctions. Ambedkar argues for a universal principle where the idea of life can be rid of ascriptive limitations enforced by graded inequality. Further, he says that everyone should have equal possibility of touching a free idea of life, an idea of meaning permanently assigned to one's birth. Religion has always been a contentious issue in India. Each religion has its own set of practices in India. In India, a person's identity is determined by his/her caste and religion, and a person is valued by his caste and religion. In other words, in India, if I come from a Hindu religion and my caste is a Brahmin, then I would be considered superior in the perspective of people who are religious and practice caste in their life. My parents used to tell us that the festivals that are celebrated in India are a kind of victory over another religion. Festivities are indulged in to celebrate the victory. In childhood, we didn't know whether these stories are true or not. But now, at present, one can see that there is a history behind every festival. Gender discrimination also happens during the celebration of some of festivals. Ambedkar remains a pioneering scholar of caste system and Hinduism. Ambedkar's painstaking historical and political critique of the caste system and the origins of untouchability was evidence of much of his exasperation and anguish. Caste is a system in which the determination of position, rights, and duties of an individual is done on the basis of birth of such an individual in a particular group. Therefore, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar explained the conversion perspective before the masses of people oppressed by caste system. Due to such a discriminatory practices in Hinduism, Ambedkar turned it to conversion and started reading about many religions in India and examining the principle of those religions. Therefore, Ambedkar work inspired the young generation in the contemporary period. Many young people have been embracing Buddhism since he himself converted to Buddhism. About the Sangharsha Samiti, this is an committee. This is an Buddhist struggle committee. Why I'm talking about the Buddhist struggle committee here? Because it gives the space to people of different religion faiths, and it helps people to understand how Buddhism teach meaningful living. Bodh Sangharsh Samiti is the religious organization that works under the guidance of Dr. Harsh Jagjap. Bodh Sangharsh Samiti was formed in Jan 2001 and from 20 years has been working on mass level. Until date, approximately 10 convergence programs have been organized at the city level. BSS has a presence in various cities of Maharashtra like Pune, Mumbai, Sangli and Nagpur. This religious organization has been formed by third Ambedkarite generation. The main motive of this organization is to eradicate the caste system from Indian society and to make this country a united Buddhist India, to make this country as a Buddhist country. It further aims to show this world the path of Navayana, the path of Buddha, the path of fraternity. The BSS is working in the Buddha Viharas in Pune city. They organize Buddha Puja and talk every Sunday in many areas. During the Corona period and lockdown, they run their programs through online media such as Google Meet and Zoom. Many youths across the country are joining this religious organization. Some of them have shifted abroad. They are attending the programs online. Many people from this organization are educated. Some of them are professors, lawyers, social workers, teachers, and students. During the lockdown, they also provide free grains, oil, groceries, and every necessary things in the working class areas for people who are not able to go to work and earn money. This BSS organization has been reaching out to people and make them aware about peaceful life. After joining and learning about BSS work, some of them embrace the Buddhism, many of whom are coming from interfaith families. This organization is currently working tirelessly to promote and spread Buddha's teaching among people. Many women and men in this organization come from interfaith families and are breaking their family traditional rigid boundaries to find ways to learn and understand Buddha's teaching irrespective of class, religion, and ethnicity. As they engage with Buddha's teaching, they convert to Buddhism and publicly claim a Buddhist identity. The purpose behind joining this organization is to find meaningful way in life where they can live a peaceful life. They share their ideas about different religious ideologies and find better religious one. They want to live their live life as per this better religious ideology. I have also attended many programs and lectures organized by this organization. While attending, I came to contact with many people who are coming from interfaith families and also converted to Buddhism, and now they are publicly claim Buddhist identity. I interviewed 3 women who are converted and actively work for the BSS organization. I shall now dwell into their narratives in some details, discussing why they decided to convert and what challenges they are facing to get rid of their old prejudice. First respondent is Sanghamitra. She belongs to Maratha caste from Hindu religion. She says that her family is very progressive. Her father encouraged her to read Babasaheb Ambedkar and Buddha's teaching. Her previous name was Deepa Khore, but after conversion, she decided to rename herself as Sanghamitra because she read about Samrat Ashoka and his daughter Sanghamitra. Her family is admiring of Gandhian ideology. She says that in her family and particularly within the Maratha caste, girls don't talk to their father much. There is only one topic to discuss in the family, which is about land. Her father was a journalist, now retired, and her mother is a housewife. Second respondent is Pallavi Harshe. She is originally from Andaman, a state in India. She was born in an upper caste family, upper caste Brahmin family. Her grandfather was working in the RSS, Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangha. She says that in her family, all members were aware about women's education and wanted women to acquire education in her family. She had developed an interest in reading books on women's education. She says that when she left home for pursuing further education in MSW, she started thinking about caste system and how it works within society. In her family, Hindu rituals were not practiced strictly. And third respondent is Sambodhi Deshpande. She is from Pune. Before converted to Buddhism, she was belonged to Brahmin and upper caste family in Hindu religion. As we see that the caste system is a part of Hindu religion. Her previous name was Sharayu Deshpande, but after she embraced Buddhism, she gave herself the name Sambodhi, a Buddhist name. She has one elder sister. Her mother died when she was in 4th standard. After that, her father sold their house in Pune and disappeared. She had to live with her grandmother, but now she has completed her PhD from Pune University and currently working as a assistant professor. So from these interviews, I found out that the work that Babasaheb Ambedkar has done on the women's education in India is encouraging today's young women to work on the women's question and also motivating them to work for women empowerment. Ambedkar's work on the women's right has consistently inspired and motivated young women to fight for their justice. The reason behind conversions, first these women converted to Buddhism in 2006. What inspired them the most is that how Dr. Ambedkar fought for justice, social justice, because when they got admission in social work studies, they began to learn about the social issues like religion, class, and caste-based discrimination. They also learn about gender inequality and at societal level, how societal values work based on caste system. One person is considered superior than another in Hindu society because of the caste system. As per Hinduism, society is divided into Varna system, which means four status exist in the Indian society. These four Varnas are one Brahman, second Kshatriya, third Vaishya, and fourth one is Shudra. These Varnas are the basis of hierarchy in Indian society, according to which a person is treated as superior or inferior based on whether he or she is born into a particular caste or religion. The second aspect that struck them significantly was that in Hindu religion, ritual practices for worshipping God are very strict and highly gendered and caste based. Women are not allowed to participate in puja worship or stay near puja shrine. Women can't even touch shrine when they menstruate, because women's menstruation is considered impure and polluting in the perspective of men for rituals. Men and old women in the home think that women must be stay away from the puja shrine or shouldn't touch it when they menstruate. And women also follows these rules. When women are on their period, nobody touches them. If anybody accidentally touches them, they are required to take bath. So women stay away in a small room in their home till their periods get over. All three of them wonder at the existence of such a discriminatory practices in Hinduism for women. Why are such a discriminatory practices followed by the society to this day? Why they don't understand that women's menstruation is a natural thing? So such a gender discrimination practices made them to think about conversion. Also, one of them said that dowry is still practices in Indian society, which requires that the bride's parents have to give dowry to groom's parents during the marriage. This dowry is usually given in the form of money or in the form of gold or any necessary things like motorcycle, four-wheelers, etc. Etc. So such ill practices also made them to think about getting married to Buddhist men and in a Buddhist family, because Buddhist communities do not practice dowry. The question of dowry and gender has many more aspects that can be discussed with reference to religion, but I cannot give them a space within the limited scope of this paper. The third significant aspect that emerged from these three narratives is that the women focused on how women's economic status in a Hindu family is extremely vulnerable. Hindu society prescribed that women should only work within the home and not outside of home. Women not allowed to participate in discussion about the family business, or they can't sit in the room when men are talking about random issues. But somehow their family understood the values of women's education, and all three of them got a chance to get education. They were very interested in reading, so they started reading about many writers who wrote on caste and women's issues. Many Bahujan leaders fought for gender equality in Indian society. They understood the importance of women's education. The overall literacy rate for women increased from 0.2% in 1888 to 6% in 1947. In India, Jyotiba Phule and his wife Savitribai Phule became pioneers of female education when they started a school for girls in 1848 in Pune. So education was central to bring change in their life, and it was a turning point for them. Education enabled them to learn about societal issues and women's issues and the concepts of social work, which prompted them to think about which ideologies are better for human being. While getting education, they also came into contact with social activists. Through this experience, they developed an inclination to work for society. In line with their motivation to work for social justice, they started thinking about conversion. They discovered that only Buddhist religion and ideology teach about human well-being, and were convinced that only Buddha's teaching can bring social change and encourage human beings to live peaceful and meaningful life. They discussed that they had never experienced discrimination based on caste and religion. When they began their higher education, they witnessed how discrimination happens based on caste and religion. All four varnas are part of the Hindu religion. It means all caste people belong to Hindu religion, but they don't get equal treatment at the societal level. Religious discrimination involves treating a person differently because of his or her religion's beliefs. Many Bahujan leaders fought for social justice against the tendency of such a religion based on equal treatment. Many movements were started by social reformers to ensure equal treatment for people of all religions in the society. For example, in Hindu religion, Shudra caste people, sorry, yes ma'am?
Shubhangi, thank you, but your time is over because we have some other presenters. So if you can just give a one-sentence conclusion, and then we can carry on in the questions and answers, but we have some other presentations.
Okay, ma'am. So I just want to conclude in 2-3 lines. Yeah?
Yes, please.
So despite belonging to dominant class families and the personal cost of losing contact with families, these women choose to give up their social privilege to convert to Buddhism. As the discussion above brings out, their conversion was aligned with their ideas of social justice and the belief that only Buddhism can free them from the oppressive practices of Hinduism. Their narratives brings out the potential of Buddhist teaching and Ambedkarite thought to bring peace and meaning to the lives of young women in an unequal and hierarchical society. Thus, Buddhist religion as a source of liberation from caste and gender-based oppression in their lives gives us insight into the radical possibilities of religion teaching. Yes, so thank you everyone for listening. If you have any questions, please ask me in the end of the session. And once again, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Shubhangi Satkar. That was a very interesting update on the work of Ambedkar and its relevance today. Thank you very much. So our third paper is presented by Dr. Amnuaypond Kidpromma. And Dr. Kidpromma is a lecturer at the Department of Philosophy and Religion at Chiang Mai University in Thailand. She earned her doctorate degree in religious studies from Lancaster University in the United Kingdom. Her research interests included anthropology of the religion, focusing on Hinduism and Buddhism, and gender studies in South and Southeast Asia. So we'd like to welcome Dr. Satkar with her presentation on religious piety of female sex workers in Chiang Mai, Northern Thailand. Thank you.
Sawadee ka. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for having me here. I feel very grateful to be part of the Sakayadida community. I am going to talk about my recent research on religious piety of female sex workers in Chiang Mai, Northern Thailand. I have to say that the reason I conducting this research, particularly because of the Sakayatida conference, because like about 2 years ago, my supervisor said that this would be a good opportunities for everyone who work on genders or Buddhism to reunite again in Malaysia. So I have a hope that I can be meeting with my supervisor and friend in Malaysia. So I conducting this research. Anyway, we still meet in here, even though it's not on site yet. Another reason why I conducting this research is being like as a Thai person who have heard a lot about sex workers and Buddhism, and there is a kind of discourse, I have to say kind of discourse, because currently this discourse has been changed in for some reason. There is a discourse like when I was young that if you are a daughter, to pay a gratitude to your parents, so some girls need to be a sex worker in order to pay gratitude to the parent. But to pay gratitude to the parent and become a sex worker, that means you have to be a bad Buddhist. As sex worker, they kind of doing something wrong about the precepts. They're not considered by society as a good Buddhist or ethical people. This kind of thing having in my mind, whether like how those sex workers kind of when they feel like feel down, when they feel bad, and how they cope with the feeling of being bad Buddhist. Because in Thailand, being Buddhist is quite important for us. 96%, more than 96% of population are Buddhist. So by being stigmatized as bad Buddhist is not a cool thing. This is one of the reasons why I want to do the research on this. And what I argue in here is that Buddhism actually is not the religions that try to exclude sex workers from the realm of Buddhism, from the realm of religions. When I do a research, I can see the connection, the relationship, a good relationship between Buddhism and sex workers, and they kind of playing a good role to support each other. And female sex worker actually is very good supporters of Buddhism. We will see how it goes. I conduct the research using the ethnographic study, but unluckily, or perhaps luckily, it was a time of COVID since early of the year, and most of pubs and bar and restaurants are closed in Chiang Mai. It's allowed me to be able to participate in the bar and talking to the ladies while they are working, observing how they work for just a short period of time. After that, everything is shut. However, I managed to speak to those workers through the organization called Empower, who established by sex workers themselves to help sex workers. So I set up the online connection. If anyone want to chat or talk to me in terms of their religious piety, they can come in the group and we will organize the phone call for interview. Surprisingly, when I did interview or talk to them in their own context, they're not very open to me. Perhaps they are busy, or perhaps they're kind of shy about their identity. But when I talk to them through the phone call, they open up everything, they express their feeling freely. Some interview take more than 3 hours. Some interview come with tear and cry and laugh like women talk or something like that. And it's made me be able to associate and listen to the real voice of them, even though like many anthropologists, we say like phone call or interview, virtual interview would not be great idea of doing field work. But with the COVID, it's really a very good method, I would say, especially when you work with a vulnerable or marginalized group who doesn't want to show their real identity to the public or to someone that not know. Before we go into what do they think about, or what do they do and do they think about their religious piety, I will give a kind of brief background about women in Thai Theravada Buddhism. I mean, being a Thai women, we have to say that we kind of occupy a good space even though we are second to men, but then since it's matrilineal, properties and everything follow the mother line, which means if I'm a daughter, and get married, I have to marry the boy, the man, into my family. So all property and everything is to be of my own. So I feel secure in the sense that I don't need to adjust myself to anyone new, just to my husband, and the other will be my natural settings, unlike in India. So in this sense, it gives some sense of secure for women. However, the reason behind why the lineage have to follow matrilineal is the expectation, traditionally expectation that we prefer to have both sex of children, a son and a daughter. A son will be ordained and be a monk and secure the space in the heaven for their parents. That means after the parent die, they will go to heaven. And the daughter, the duty of the daughter is to make the parent, this life of the parent, secure, healthy, supportive, and so they have to take care of the parent. So this is the reason behind why it seemed to be a burden for some women to take care, not kind of bad burden, but it's like a duty of women for them to take care of the family, to take care of the parent. And at one point, since men can take ordain and become a monk, being educated by become a monk, women, since they have to take care of their parent, and the temple or monastery not allow them to be there, so they have to try by all means to take care of their parents. And one of opportunity or choice in their life is to become a sex worker in order to earn an income to support their family. However, this kind of argument seems to be old, but it has been used by many sex workers whom I work with. They will claim themselves that they are a breadwinner in the family, and if they don't be a sex worker, their family would be in difficulty. There was a study who suggests that Buddhism is the source of women marginalization in Thailand, which is true and half true, I would say, because being marginalization is not just Buddhism, it's come from social hierarchy, education, and everything that push women behind men. But of course, Buddhism is one sort, I would say, because right now become a bhikkhuni still illegal in Thailand. Bhikkhuni, even though like in Chiang Mai, we have many nunnery centers and have many bhikkhuni, but those are not recognized by the Thai Sangha. So in this sense, women seem to have no space in a dominant religious practice like Buddhism. Some women, because their religious quench, they become, they shift themselves to the popular religious practice. For example, spirit medium or superstition, which is like quite fascinating in the sense that they are the medium of the male god or the male deity and function as a man, even though in female body. Perhaps my next research will be on this. This is a background of women in Thailand in a very brief detail. And come back to think about Buddhism and as the source of female women marginalization and the source of and kind of reason that make women become a sex worker. Long time ago, 40 years ago, 41 years ago, Kintisa and many other scholars claim that this is Buddhism is make women become sex worker because they not allow women to be in the Buddhist space. And quite recently, there is a study of peace and another scholar from Thailand who claimed that Buddhism and sex work are kind of supportive each other. They have a very supportive relationship, and this supportive relationship allow peace to conclude that the existence of sex working in Thailand is Buddhism is the one of the reasons that makes sex working in Thailand still here, even though we are a Buddhist country. Now we are come to sex worker voice. There are, like I mentioned before, there are many stigmatized, many idea towards sex worker as a very bad Buddhist, a very immoral person, people who you should not hang out with because they seem to be beyond or out of the framework of good Buddhist people or good person. What do they think about this? What are their voice about become a sex worker and finally being stigmatized as a bad person? Sex worker or sex work in Thailand is illegal now. And sex work, of course, sex worker, if they are arrested by police, they will be put as a criminal. However, their voice, it says like sex working is not criminal and they are not a demeritorious person. They give me a reason why they are not demeritorious person, because what they did by giving sexual service to customer is not against any third precept, and they use the words of very high hierarchy monk in Thailand, saying that because their intention when they giving the service to customer, they didn't have any intention to take anyone husband, anyone father, anyone son to be them, to be theirs. They just do the job, finish the activity and gone. So it's not against the third precept. Of course, they have sex with them, but they didn't take them to be theirs, and their intention is purely about their duty to work as a sex worker. Another reason is that they says like they are actually very active patrons for Buddhism. Sasana or Buddhism can be very popular and distributed to other regions, like in the West, part of it because of their supporting. And this supporting happened since the Buddha time, and even earlier in Thailand, there is a story of the madam who used the money from being a madam, doing sex working, and built up a temple down in Bangkok for the monk. So this kind of history and narrative has been used to support that they are one of a very active and good Buddhist. Another reason is that the income that they use it for paying gratitude, is for supporting their family, and gratitude is something that very important in Thailand. And you cannot when in the news you're seeing old people and left with nobody, that is something that will be condemned by the society heavily. The daughter and the son will be condemned. Beyond anything, sex workers, we say that what they are doing is not hurt and harm anyone. It's like the seller, they sell the thing that customer want. They not force them to come and buy it. They didn't force themselves to sell it. They volunteer to be a seller, and the buyer is also volunteered to buy it when the demand and supply meet, and it seemed to harm no one. So this their voice about like their own identity and their own work. However, there are also some sex workers who feel like deep down inside them, doing this is still not acceptable for themselves, and they also feel sense of guilt inside. Some cry out whether like if life have more opportunities, they won't be able to, they won't choose this path for themselves, and many of them still hide their identity of being sex worker from families or even from neighbor, but some they just open it and let everyone know that they are sex workers. So it's really depend on individual, but most of them whom I interview, about 30 people aged from 23 up to 56, they volunteer to be a sex workers. No one forced them, and even some are illegal because they move from other country illegally. But they said no one forced them. They just want to be sex worker in order to earn an income, and then when they have enough income, they will go back home and settle down some business for themselves, like good business. Come to the core. I mean, the question, to answer the question of my research, and like, what are the religious pieties of sex worker if they are condemned to be something else opposite to good Buddhism? Are they still using Buddhism in their life? The answer is definitely, and the way they use is really amazing. Amazing in the sense that they use the dominant Buddhism, like a very normative Buddhism, like giving alms, sanghadana, donation, meditation, and chanting to accumulate their merit, to change the karma, or kind of lessen the results of the karma for their future life. Maybe next life, they will not be a sex worker again. So this, they kind of accumulate heavily, go to the temple and make donation because they earn an easy money. So they like to make a lot of donation, and they believe that if it's not happen in this life, it's please happen in next life, that they will become someone that have a better living circumstances. And
thank you, Dr. Kidpromma. Could you please share with us your conclusion?
yes, please.
And, yes.
Yeah, and another very interesting thing is their religious piety that help them to be successful in this life is to use the magic items, all kind of magic thing that you will see in the photo. This is the yantra and enchanting oil, the tattoo, and sacred item. This allow them to be successful in their career. When they go out, it will be a very, very we call metta mahaniyom. That means you have a loving kindness quality. So the customer will be come and talk to you and pay you a lot of money. And this, they will do it within the framework of Buddhism. They hardly go out to get something done from lay people who not practice Buddhism. They will go to get it from the monk or lay person who was a monk before and still keep practicing and keeping the sila strictly. Part of it because they feel that because these activities is done under the domain of Buddhism, they feel secure, they feel right, they feel that this is the right path for them. The Dharma of the Buddha will protect them in this life and make them success. So thank you very much for your attention. And I hope if anyone have any question or want me to explain more, please feel free to ask. Thank you very much, Ka.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kidpromma. That was really interesting, and livelihood and religion, and how to go beyond the suffering that is incurred in living. Our final paper is actually a classmate of Dr. Kidpromma, and that is Dr. Jiancheng Shi. Dr. Jiancheng Shi is from Taiwan and has just completed her PhD at the University of Lancaster, and her research focuses on the understanding of mindfulness in Chinese Chan monastic life. She has also been a Buddhist nun since 2002. And the focus of her paper is on transformation and tenacity of women in contemporary Chinese Dharmaguptaka ordination. So thank you very much, Dr. Jiancheng Shi.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wong, and thank you very much for all of you attending today's conference and making it possible. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity to learn from everybody and listen to such amazing presentation today. And today my talk is about Chinese non-ordination. So first of all, I would like to talk a little bit about the meanings behind the ritual, and I'm sure some of you might be very familiar with the ordination. And I would like to also bring up a case studies which I conducted recently in mainland China, and to highlight the nuns' situation and their difficulties and their inner strength. So as a cleric, I have taken a great interest in the intricate ordination ceremony of which I have taken part. The journey of being transferred across the threshold to become a full-fledged member of the Buddhist monastic community informs the meaning of the inner and outer transformation that one achieves while attaining a new religious status. So it is with great honor and humility to present my ethnography research on the performance of the full ordination ceremony of a Chinese Buddhist nun. I have undertaken this academic and spiritual journey because this experience has had such a profound impact on me as a person I have become. The full ordination in Chinese Buddhism is known as the triple platform ordination, 三坛大戒 in Chinese. Within a 1-month period, the 3 types of ordinations are performed in a progressive manner, which corresponds to 3 kinds of precepts that each ordained nun must take and observe. Ideally, taking and observing precepts marks the beginning of the transgression of the boundaries between the mundane and sacred worlds. 3 kinds of ordinations imply a 3-fold karmic relationship between observing such precepts and spiritual attainment. Thus, the full ordination symbolically represents entry into a saintly world, a spiritual journey, if you will. During this 30-day-long ceremony, each non-ordinant moves between several identities, from novice to bhikkhuni to bodhisattva bhikkhuni. Their outward appearances and belongings change accordingly, from initially a long black garment symbolizing a state of disconnectedness from monastic life, to 3 robes, a begging bowl, and a sitting cloth. The new symbolic processions distinguish them from their previous secular ways, while also reflecting the spiritual contentment of monastic life. This progressive approach is described like pearl fishing, starting from the shallow water into the deep trenches. It shows that a full ordination ceremony is not merely dealing with an ordinary organizational procedure relating to one's external identity. Instead, it highlights that both the transformation of the inner self and the coming together of this inner self with one's outer monastic identity must occur slowly and gradually. This study was conducted in a historic monastery in southeastern China called Yunmen Dajue Chan Monastery. The monastery flourished in the 10th century, yet has been in gradual decline since the 12th century. It was not until the 20th century when Chan Master Xu Yun restored the temple and revived its monastic practices, including ordination ceremonies. Now, Yunmen regularly hosts their ordination ceremony approximately every 3 years. The venue for monk ordination is usually at the Yunmen Monastery, and the non-ordination takes place in its nunnery, which is just a short stroll away. The ordination venue is created as a distinctively sacred space, and the ordination rituals are conducted in complete isolation. Lay people and even monastics who are irrelevant to the ceremony are strictly prohibited from entering the area to protect the purity of the space. As a female researcher, I did not have the permission to be physically present in monk ordination rituals and could only witness their happenings from a distance. On the other hand, as a nun myself, I have privileged access to observe the nun ordination. It's noteworthy that not all Buddhist monasteries are capable of holding such a grand events, which involve inviting venerable monastics to be preceptors and witnesses, recruiting groups of mentors, and accommodating hundreds of ordinands. In other words, one's new monastic identity construction is not a solo journey. It relies upon much support built on every complex interpersonal relationship. The Chinese Dharmaguptaka ordination procedure grants both men and women full ordination status. However, the reality that monks and nuns encounter are not identical. Based on my observation, on the journey of gaining a new religious status, nuns seem to confront more stress and challenges than monks. It was not only the fact that some monasteries hold the full ordination only for monks, which means nuns have fewer opportunities to be fully ordained. In my fieldwork, I noticed that compared to the monk ordination held in a much bigger venue with abundant volunteers and support of hundreds of resident monks, the nun ordination was operated in contrast with tough circumstances and shortage of support. Here, I would like to raise several key points on the nun ordination in 2019. In mainland China, decisions to hold triple platform ordination ceremonies must be approved by Buddhist Association of China, which decides the number of people that will be fully ordained in each host monastery and issues ordination certificates. In 2019, Yunnan monasteries obtained permission to issue 350 certificates each for monks and nuns, but face a dilemma due to much higher number of registrations. More than 700 non-candidates begged for the opportunity to take the full ordination. Thus, the ceremony there was strongly marked by a collective sense of anxiety, as half of the candidates might not receive proper certification. As you can see on the slide, a proper certification must have 3 steps, and we will come back to that later. Even after their arrival, in the midst of memorizing the required ritual content, many ordinands were unsure if they would be given a chance to engage in those rituals or not. Some travel even thousands of kilometers for attending the full ordination, as they sought to be fully ordained at a prestige monastery so that they could receive qualified monastic training to benefit their practices for their monastic career. Although the nunnery wanted to accept as many nuns as possible, the huge number of nun ordinands has gone far beyond the capacity of the nunnery. During the ritual performances, the nuns had very limited space to stand, crowded like sardines. Some stood outside the door or behind the manhole, blocked from the ceremony. They also dealt with the hardship of inadequate accommodation and a lack of bathrooms. Indeed, more than 100 nuns lived in one single large room and slept on the meditation chairs lined up next to their suitcase. Moreover, the full ordination ceremony is agreed to be a rigorous experience for Chinese Mahayana Buddhist monastics. It's highly demanding both physically and mentally. The timetable in the ordination ceremony is very tight, with little rest, and the ordinand's body and mind undergo various forms of ritual training, including prolonged kneeling, standing, prostration, and intense learning. Ordinands not only study the details of each precept to be taken, but also how to carry themselves while walking, sitting, standing, and even sleeping. The ceremony was held during the raining season. Their hand-washed clothes hardly dried. Unsurprisingly, many of them became ill. A couple of non-ordinands with medical backgrounds actively volunteer to take care of their sick colleagues. As you can see on these photos, Dr. Nong, she tried to prepare various of medical soups and also taught their peer nuns how to distinguish their cold symptoms and which soup they should take. At one point, an important ritual was delayed as all the prepared items were blown away by severe weather. By realizing the ritual was in danger, all non-ordinants, even though strangers, quickly took off their robes and jumped down to help in efficient teamwork. And this is the moment I was lucky to catch the moment and to share with you. So this is when they were kind of trying to save the ritual. This case study highlights the oppressive restriction on the number of non-ordinations in the current perplexing religious policy. Though gender inequality needs to be further explored, the overall underprivileged status of nuns at all levels of Chinese Buddhism has also been addressed. Forced to find a way to work together, they developed a tacit understanding of one another and contributed their talents to achieve their goal. In this uncomfortable and challenging ordination environment, they became even more focused and determined, whilst some did not receive proper certification or sadly were too sick to complete the ordination. The full ordination is seen as the coming of age rite. Therefore, all the rituals and trainings are meant to help each ordinand be equipped with a sufficiently strong mind necessary within Chinese Buddhist monasticism. So these nuns' inner potential in their spiritual cultivation and religious vows were unexpectedly deepened by these restrictions. This full ordination provided not only a new identity construction, but also an intensive journey which marks the beginning of the inner transformation and tenacity which is needed to live and thrive in a monastic community. Thank you very much. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you very much, Venerable Jiancheng. I mean, when the community comes together, and especially as women, we definitely find a way, supporting each other. So thank you. So now we have about 20 minutes for our Q&A. So I'd like to begin with a question to Sonam Choden Sherpa. So the question is, are there any life cycle rituals, Buddhist or non-Buddhist related, such as menopausal ritual, practiced by the group of nuns in your case study that would somehow enable a transformation in their social status? For example, liberate them from or reinforce gender stereotypes about menstruation. So that's a question for Sonam Choden Sherpa.
Yes. So yeah, during my course of study, I could not find any such practices or rituals held, especially within the nuns community. However, there are practices outside Buddhism, certain practices in Hinduism, which marks an onset of menstruation for young girls, especially. So in the case of Buddhism, there aren't any stark practices as such, but there are certain things like not avoiding religious places of worship, but taking bath before going to a place of worship during menstruation, because there's this innate perception about you being impure during that particular time, which I think further reiterates stigma, and which reproduces certain perception towards menstruation, I feel. Yes.
Our second question is for Ms. Shubhangi Satkar, and it has to do about why conversion is the only way to solve the problem in this 21st century. Why India shouldn't follow or focus more on promoting universal ethics or secular-based values that already exist in Indian communities. So why is conversion seem to be only the only problem even now? And then there's another question to add to that. Have people's food diet changed after they converted to Buddhism? Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so I would like to just say that yes, we reached in a technology time, but in the Indian context, Buddhism is not a religion in the true sense. It is a way of life. Buddha teach us kindness, and that kindness need to practice in the society, because maintaining religion peace in India is very important. We see recently Hindu religion leaders in one program made provocative and hate speech and called for genocide of Muslims. Yeah, and the second is that even in the Merry Christmas Day, before Merry Christmas, some people from Hindu religion burned an effigy of Santa Claus, and this is striking fear among people. So we need to practice kindness, but now in India, there is a contentious religious contentious issue in India, because many people are they are not if means some Hindu people are against Muslim community, and also many and they are these Hindu people also from the political, and they are activists in political activists. So such a if they made such a provocative and hate speeches towards particular community or particular religion, so that will be the most dangerous things, that the genocide maybe happen, and these are the minorities, and many as earlier I said that the caste system practice in Hindu religion. So such a practices also is not good for the in society. So these are the issue in India, in Indian context. And yes, the second question, that if that will be good if they given break during women menstruation. This should be explained, but if women get periods, so families in the families they have to explain that yes, you got period, and you are doing a lot of work in the home, so you need to take break. But here in a religion family, it says that it is when women menstruate, it is impure. When women given break, then why touching them is a problematic. those young women who converted to Buddhism, they say that they don't like such a this kind of attitude towards women, and they feel that it is discriminatory. And last one of them said that when there is a religious puja at home, sometimes women take medicine to delay their periods because the touching problem is there, no? So they say that women menstruation is a natural thing. So in this way, men and in Indian society, people should think in this way. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. There was also a short question about when they have converted, is there any difference in their diet? You know, how people's food diet has changed after they converted to Buddhism?
no, even they're having meat or they're having non-veg. They haven't changed, but women from the Hindu community who have converted, they say that we face discrimination at home, in their family itself, because while only the topic is discussed, land or business issues, women can't sit in the main hall while men are there. So such a things made them to think that, and they also when they came in contact with some Buddhist group people, they say that, and they also they say that in Buddhist family they don't see such a discrimination happens with women. So that's it with the Buddhist other things. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, our next question is for Dr. Kidpromma, and that has to do with, do you think that if regular jobs in Thailand paid a living wage to women, that sex work would be diminished?
Very interesting question, because first, to give you a brief idea, the paying wage per day for lower labor, and most of the sex workers that I work with, they have low education, so the job that they can do either working at a restaurant or constructing site, not much. That means they get paid not much. And being a woman is even harder. In the construction site, the men will get paid 300 baht per day, but women, since they cannot work very hard like men, they get paid only 160 baht a day, which is 300 baht a day is about $10. 160 is about $5-6 a day. We talk about a day. And most of sex workers who come into the job, they're planning to be there just for a short period of time. When they can save up some money, they will go back and do their own business, either being a beauty parlor, massage place, or etc. However, most of them end up to stay in the career for perhaps some of them more than 2 decades. And they said that it's kind of hallucination in a way, illusion in a way, to think that they will stop doing this and do some normal job is impossible. This is given the information by the senior sex worker. Everyone keep doing this because the money is very good. When you are just lower labor, you get $10 per day. When you are a sex worker, you get some day, it can be like $500 per day. So it's different, and it's somehow, some of them say that it's kind of spoil their life too. So thinking about the income that they get from sex worker, from being sex worker, I am not sure whether it will change or not. I think it's many factors. It's not just about the income or the career that give them more to live. It's something else too. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you also explain about the tattoos?
Yes, it's the tattoo. I have to say that Angelina Jolie has also did this. This is the small version of tattoo. It's called 5-pillar tattoo, which is written in Lana script, and it's equivalent to Sanskrit. It's considered to be a holy local language or script in Chiang, in northern Thailand. So it's powerful, it's embedded with a very sacred energy, and it's not just script itself that have the sacred energy. The process or the ritual is take longer. It's not just like you want the tattoo and the monk or the lay person will give you the tattoo. It will come to the process of making sure that you can follow the restriction. And if you are certain to this path and you submit yourself to be the disciple of the tattoo maker or the Guruji, the Ajahn, they will chant the mantra and perform many ritual and written this on your body, rub with oils. The oil is extract from many kind of herbal thing, plants and animal, and chanting the Buddhist mantra to make it sacred. So everything performed in a very holy atmosphere. The first pillars, the first thing is about metta mahaniyom. That means very, very loving kindness, not just normal loving kindness, very, very loving kindness. The second will bring you a good fortune. The third pillar will bring you a good success. And the fourth will consider to your horoscope. And then it will written following your horoscope. That means the fourth pillar will be different from person by person. And the last one will be bring you charm and attractive. Sex workers like to use this because they believe that when they have this, customer will pay them a lot of money. In one day, they get a lot of customer and get easy money. And oh, I can't say easy money, I'm sorry. They're very unhappy with this. They get a lot of money, and also they will be protected by the tattoo. When they go out with some bad customer, this can protect them from something bad that may happen. Is it shortly? I mean, if you're interested, I can give more data.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. If there's anybody that has more data, then you can put your emails or resources in the chat box. But we have 5 more minutes, and we do have another question. So with the and this one is to Venerable Dr. Jiancheng. Sure. With the rigorous and challenging ordination process sounding unnecessarily inhuman, do you advocate for reform? And also, why are monks' ordination less rigorous? Is supply and demand a factor?
Thank you very much for those interesting questions. I think from the aspect of religious practice and the detail of the ordination procedure, I think monks and nuns' ordination are relatively similar, rigorous. But however, in my case study highlights that nuns seems to have fewer opportunity to be fully ordained. And actually, in my case, both the registration number of both monks and nuns both exceed what was meant to be 350. So I think it's very much to do with the China's religious policy. So I think this is something. Of course, I wouldn't be. I feel a little slightly disappointed about it, and I really hope that nuns in mainland China would have more like freedom and opportunity to really pursue their religious goal. And in terms of the detail of the ordination, challenging, personally myself, experience a lot of benefits of it. So thank you very much for this question. And I don't know, maybe other people could also contribute to this question, but personally myself, I do feel it was challenging, but maybe because of the challenging make it unforgettable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, that is all the questions that we have that came in. And I would really like to thank all of you, especially to our presenters, for really sharing with us the difficult embodiment, the challenges of difficult embodiment in so many ways. which we might not think of, opening our perspectives. And so we wish you the best forth as you continue your research and continue to advocate for others in these different situations. So may everyone have a good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you in the workshops that are to follow. Thank you very much.